You're an invested Magic player. You love the game and you want to play with new and exciting decks. It's Monday morning and you boot up MTGO.com and you check out what decks got played in last week's challenges. One of them catches your eye. It's got your favorite card in it. The one that everyone said couldn't do well in your favorite format. But this player did. They didn't top 8, but they were close. And that's good enough because you're going to go and get that deck list. You're going to put it together. Maybe on Magic Online, maybe you get the cards to play in a paper FNM. You take that URL and you say, oh my God, I have to show this to all of my Magic player friends. Look, my favorite card did well in an event. You go to your Discord, you post a link there and say, guys, check out this list. I've got to play it. We've got to play it. You're excited and you're engaged to play the game you love. And we might lose that. This player won't see that list. This player won't go to FNM with their fun and pet deck. They won't show up and play the MTGO challenge. This is an MTGO.com decklist update. Events are now going to scale the amount of decklists they post based on size. For most MTGO challenges, for most formats, you will only see the top 8 decklists moving forward. I feel that this is going to hurt the way we engage with Magic. This has far more cons than pros, in my opinion, especially from a player perspective. Now, this change is not coming down from a player perspective. This is coming down from a game perspective, from presumably WotC, who wants to possibly slow down format growth in terms of stagnation and formats being solved. They don't want people to see new deck lists. They want that to happen organically. But is that really what's going to occur with this change? We are only going to see the top 8, and the top 8 is a horrible representation of what is happening in a tournament. The top 8 doesn't even show you only deck lists that do well. There will be many deck lists that will be at the same record as the top 8 that won't get shown. And so that leaves a lot of that up to chance. You might end up with 6 of the same deck lists in the top 8. And then what do you get? You get a player base who says, wow, this format's stale. This format's solved. This format is in a bad place and I don't want to play it. Limiting the data is not going to result in people being happier about what is going on in your game. Here's another example. Recently, I just top 8'd, so this deck list would have been shown with a very unique all-legend brew in Vintage. This is a deck featuring lots of new and exciting cards. This is the exact kind of deck that gets people engaged with new printings. This is the kind of deck WotC wants to be out there to engage some of their old player bases into buying new booster packs of new product. This deck list would not exist if I did not have top 32 deck lists and full data. Why? Because as a brewer, I simply would not make it. This is a deck that attacks a metagame. This is not a deck that plays all the best cards. These are not the most powerful cards that have ever been printed. They might play some of them, but you aren't playing Macdi and May and Aang because they are the same power level of Ancestral Recall. You're playing them because they fit perfectly into what you perceive to be the metagame. And I can only ever conceive and make this deck list by knowing that there's less mono white going around. There's a high number of combo decks in the format that are being played currently. I know that those combo decks based on the deck list will be weak to May and Macdi and Lavinia. This is a deck that I chose to play last week because I thought I had seen the metagame shifts and I thought this deck would work now in Vintage. And it's another deck that's just going to not exist. And maybe that's the goal, which I think is crazy. oh, we don't want you to figure out that you can make this deck, but we want you to be slower at making this innovation. But I don't think slower is what's going to happen. I think no innovation is what's going to happen. I simply won't make this deck if I don't have the data that makes this brew work. And these examples just keep piling up. These are the things that are going to happen once we start losing access to deck lists. And I'm having a lot of trouble making this video and figuring out how to engage with the topic. I've re-recorded this so many times at this point, but it doesn't feel like we have the community's best interests in mind with this change. It doesn't feel like this is going to benefit us. And maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I'm missing key data here. I'm not an expert and I don't have all of the data, but I'm struggling as someone who works with Magic data for many years now. And my number one goal when working with Magic data is to give everyone the same playing field, to give everyone full information to make the best decisions on how to engage with the game they want. And this is just going the opposite way again. If you remember a few years ago, when Daybreak took over MTGO, they were trying to modernize the system and bring it up to standards with their other games that they run. And in doing so, they created an API that could be accessed by the public to grab deck lists. And what I did was I made a video. I said, hey, this is already public, but it's not in the forefront of what people are doing. So I want to show people what you can do with this and how to make data apps for MTG. And Daybreak was okay with that. That's what Daybreak wanted. Daybreak put that out there. And within hours of me posting my video and going a little viral on Twitter, that API got shut down. It was too much data. And it seems that ever since then, the data we are allowed to have has been fought against, attacked, and is shrinking in front of our eyes. And I just feel that I have to put this video out there. I have this larger public voice, and I need to make sure that I'm heard for all of these people who are affected. If you go on Twitter right now, there's a Fire Shoes post, and it's going crazy. I've never seen so many Magic players retweet, quote tweet, add their opinions to a post. And I hope that that kind of engagement and this kind of video make it to the right people, because I don't know who the right people are. I don't know who drove this change, and I don't know who can revert it. I know that it's not Daybreak. It's not MTGO. It's someone else. So if you are listening to that, or you are someone who knows how to get this to the right person, please do so. And for all of us who don't know that person, we just have to keep sharing. So I recommend being vocal on social media. What else can I really do? I don't know. This is another step back for 60 card formats. This is another step back for community engagement. This is another step back for Magic players. That's the only way I can view it. And obviously a heavily biased viewpoint. Don't get me wrong. Let me know in the comments what you think. This is going to be the most harmful for formats that don't have incredible amounts of paper results, which is most formats, because there aren't crazy amounts of paper results being printed anymore, but especially for older formats like the ones that I enjoy. Hopefully we'll continue with more vintage content on this YouTube channel every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'll see you then.